Leadership isn't about standing in front of people. It's about standing for something. It's about walking through fire so others can find their light. The world doesn't need more bosses. It needs more believers, more builders, more brave souls willing to lead with heart. When everything's on the line, success doesn't come knocking politely on your door. It doesn't whisper, "Are you ready?" It comes like a storm, loud, demanding, unrelenting. And only those who dare to rise, those who refuse to stay asleep in mediocrity, are the ones who meet it head on. Every one of us has felt that stirring inside, the quiet voice that says, "You're meant for more." But somewhere between the noise of expectations and the weight of fear, that voice gets silenced. We grow up believing success belongs to someone else. Someone luckier, richer, more connected. But the truth, success has no favorites. It doesn't discriminate. It aligns itself with the ones who are willing to step forward, even when they have every reason to step back. We often think we need the perfect timing, the right connections, the best circumstances. But success doesn't wait for conditions to be ideal. It demands movement in the chaos. Think about it. Every person who ever made history started with less than what they needed, but more than enough of what mattered. They had hunger, fire, belief. They didn't sit around waiting for permission. They gave it to themselves. You already hold the key to your own success, but too often you've been convinced you don't deserve to use it. Maybe someone told you you're not enough. Maybe you failed once and believed it defined you. But failure doesn't close doors. It builds muscle. It's not a dead end. It's a detour meant to redirect you to where you're truly supposed to go. Some people go their whole lives searching for something they already have. They look for shortcuts, secrets, formulas. But the key of success isn't hidden in books, mentors, or motivational videos. It's buried inside you. It's in the choices you make when no one's watching, in the effort you give when nobody's clapping. It's in how you talk to yourself when things fall apart. The moment you realize that, everything changes. You stop asking the world to open doors for you and start building your own. Because success doesn't live at the end of a destination. It lives in the way you have walked toward it. It's not about how fast you run, but how relentlessly you keep going. Most people wait for a sign, a moment that tells them it's time to start. But here's the truth. There is no perfect moment. Waiting has never made anyone great. The world rewards action, not hesitation. If you keep waiting to feel ready, you'll be waiting forever. Readiness doesn't come before the leap. It comes after. You grow wings when you decide to jump. You build courage by walking into fear, not away from it. Every time you choose movement over comfort, you unlock another level of yourself. Success begins not when you have everything, but when you use everything you already have. That's where the transformation starts. Ask yourself, what are you really afraid of? Is it failure or the realization of your own potential? Because sometimes success terrifies people more than failure does. Success requires responsibility. It forces you to confront your limits, to outgrow excuses, to show up even when you don't feel like it. But here's the beautiful part. Once you stop running from that power, it starts to work for you. Every challenge becomes fuel. Every setback becomes strategy. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and start seeing yourself as the creator of them. That's when life starts shifting in your favor. Not because luck suddenly arrived, but because you stopped waiting for it. So when I say the key to success is already in your hand, I mean this: you don't need to be chosen. You don't need validation. You don't need someone else to open the door. You were born with everything you need to rise. It's not a matter of finding the key. It's about using it. The moment you decide, truly decide, that you are done living small, that you are done apologizing for your ambition, the entire universe starts rearranging itself around that decision. Success isn't found. It's claimed. It's not given. It's earned. It's not a dream. It's a demand. And it's waiting for you to answer. Because the truth is, success doesn't belong to the chosen few. It belongs to the few who choose. And the day you choose yourself without hesitation, without apology, without doubt, that's the day the key turns, the door opens, and everything you've ever imagined becomes possible. Stop blaming. Stop waiting. Stop hoping someone will come along and notice your potential. The world doesn't owe you recognition. It owes you nothing. You owe yourself the life you dream of. Too often, people live as if they're passengers in their own story, pointing fingers at circumstances, at people, at luck. But let me tell you something powerful. The moment you start blaming, you hand over your power. You give away control of your own destiny. Ownership is where transformation begins. The second you take full, unapologetic responsibility for your life, every success, every failure, every mistake, you stop being a victim of your story and start being its author. And authors don't wait for permission. They write their next chapter with bold ink. Taking ownership isn't about guilt. It's about power. It's about saying, yes, this happened. But now I decide what comes next. Most people misunderstand responsibility. They think it means taking the blame. It doesn't. It means taking the steering wheel. It means refusing to let your past dictate your direction. When you own your story, you reclaim your strength. You turn regret into resolve. You start to understand that every choice, no matter how small, shapes your reality. You can't change what happened, but you can always change what happens next. And that's where real success begins. Not in perfection, but in accountability. Because the strongest people aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who take full responsibility when they do. Ownership requires brutal honesty. It's standing in front of the mirror and asking yourself the hard questions. What am I avoiding? What have I allowed? What am I doing to keep myself small? It's easy to blame the economy, your boss, your parents, your partner. But none of those things define your potential. You do. You can't rewrite the beginning of your story, but you can transform the ending. And that transformation begins with truth. There's nothing more powerful than a person who stops lying to themselves. Once you confront reality without flinching, the excuses lose their grip. You realize that waiting for life to get better is another form of surrender. The ones who rise are the ones who look at their life and say, "This is mine to fix, mine to build, mine to elevate." Here's the thing, no one's coming to save you. Not a mentor, not a partner, not an opportunity wrapped in a bow. You can't outsource your destiny. The people you admire didn't wait for a savior. They became their own. They turned obstacles into teachers, criticism into fuel, pain into purpose. Ownership doesn't mean you won't need help. It means you take full control of how you use it. It means you stop expecting someone else to carry your dream harder than you do. It means that even when everything goes wrong, you don't collapse. You recalibrate. The world is full of talent, but very few people have the courage to take ownership. That's why ownership is the ultimate separator. It turns ordinary people into leaders, and leaders into legends. When you take ownership, something magical happens. You stop negotiating with your potential. You stop saying, "Maybe tomorrow," and start saying, "Now." You stop asking, "Why me?" and start declaring, "Why not me?" That shift changes everything. Because life isn't happening to you. It's happening through you. Every challenge, every setback, every delay is an invitation to step deeper into your power. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't luck. It's accountability. The successful take every result as feedback, not failure. They don't say, "I couldn't." They say, "I didn't. And here's how I'll fix it." That mindset doesn't just build careers, it builds character. It builds a version of you that success can't ignore. And when you reach that level of ownership, when you no longer wait for anyone to choose you, validate you, or rescue you, you become unstoppable. Because ownership creates freedom. It frees you from dependence, from excuses, from waiting for the world to hand you what you were meant to claim. You start to live with purpose, clarity, and conviction. You realize that everything in your life, every win, every wound, was preparing you for this moment of awakening. And from that moment on, no one can take it away from you. Ownership gives you authority over your life story. And with that authority, you can rewrite everything. Because the truth is this, the power you've been searching for has always been yours. The moment you take ownership, real, fearless ownership, you stop asking for opportunities and start creating them. You stop living in reaction and start living in intention. That's when you stop being part of the crowd and become the force that leads it. That's when success stops being a dream and starts becoming your reality. As a growth is never comfortable. Comfort is the enemy of progress, the silent killer of potential. The truth is, you can't evolve and stay comfortable at the same time. It's one or the other. Every breakthrough you crave, every dream you chase, every version of yourself you want to become lives on the other side of discomfort. Most people want transformation, but they don't want the tension that comes with it. They want the results, not the resistance. But the resistance is what builds you. Diamonds are created under pressure, not peace. Strength is born from struggle, not ease. If you're not willing to be uncomfortable, you're not willing to grow. Because comfort never demands more from you, but growth always does. The moment you decide to step into discomfort, you separate yourself from the masses. Because most people spend their lives avoiding pain, seeking convenience, chasing the illusion of safety. They play small because small feels familiar. They stop trying because trying might hurt. But comfort has a cost. It steals your potential while pretending to protect you. The people who achieve greatness aren't fearless, they're simply brave enough to act despite fear. They walk straight into uncertainty with shaking hands and racing hearts, and they come out stronger on the other side. Every step into discomfort stretches your capacity. It rewires your mind to understand that fear isn't a stop sign. It's a signal that you're exactly where you're meant to be. You will fail. You will fall. You will be doubted, criticized, misunderstood. But let me tell you this, failure is not your enemy, stagnation is. Every time you fail, you gain a lesson that success could never teach. Every fall reveals a weakness you're meant to strengthen. And every doubt, every no, every closed door is a redirection, not a rejection. When life pushes you to your knees, it's not punishing you, it's preparing you. The people who rise to the top aren't the ones who avoided failure. They're the ones who used failure as fuel. They didn't let it define them. They let it refine them. You cannot evolve if you're afraid to be tested. The fire that burns you today is the same fire that will light your way tomorrow. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move through it. Courage doesn't feel like confidence. It often feels like trembling, uncertainty, chaos. But courage is the quiet voice inside that says, I will try again. Every time you act with courage, even in small ways, you build a foundation of strength that becomes unshakable. It's easy to look confident when everything is going right, but true courage is built when everything is falling apart. It's the choice to keep moving when no one believes in you, when you doubt yourself, when it hurts to breathe. Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, keep going. And those who listen to that whisper eventually hear the world roar their name. Stepping into discomfort doesn't just change what you do. It changes who you are. Every time you face something that scares you and walk through it, you expand your identity. You begin to see yourself differently. Not as someone trying to survive life, but as someone capable of conquering it. The old version of you starts to dissolve, replaced by someone stronger, sharper, more resilient. The fears that used to stop you start to shrink, because now you know what you're made of. That's what growth does. It doesn't make life easier. It makes you tougher. The greatest version of you isn't built in calm seas. It's forged in storms. And the more storms you walk through, the more unstoppable you become. So, if you're standing at the edge of something uncertain, if fear is whispering that you might fail, take the step anyway. Let discomfort be your compass, not your cage. Because discomfort is proof that you're moving. It's the universe testing your readiness for the next level. You can stay where it's safe, where it's predictable, where nothing ever challenges you, but nothing great will ever grow there. Or you can choose the path that burns, stretches, and transforms you. The path where growth feels like chaos, but the result feels like freedom. Because in the end, comfort may feel easy, but it's growth that makes you alive. Every time you choose to walk through fear, you build the courage to create the life you were meant to live. The pain will fade, but the power you gain will last forever. Discomfort isn't your enemy. It's your invitation to rise. Success isn't about applause. It's not about the spotlight or the roar of the crowd. It's about what's left when the noise fades. True success is about impact. The quiet, lasting kind that changes people long after you've walked away. It's not about how many people know your name. It's about how many lives are better because you existed. Too many chase validation instead of value, chasing followers instead of fulfillment. But legacy isn't built by being seen. It's built by being felt. It's in the strength you give others to believe in themselves. In the way your courage gives someone else permission to rise. When you start measuring your success, not by what you have, but by what you give, everything changes. Because real success leaves fingerprints on hearts, not just trophies on shelves. Legacy begins in the unseen moments. The choices you make when no one is watching. The effort you put in when the cameras are off. The integrity you hold when no one would ever know if you broke it. These moments define you more than any achievement ever could. Success is temporary. Character is eternal. You can't fake legacy. You can't cheat consistency. The person you are behind closed doors will always echo louder than any speech or title. Because authenticity doesn't shout. It resonates. People remember how you made them feel, how you showed up when it mattered, how you lived your truth, even when it wasn't easy. That's where greatness is forged. In the quiet discipline of doing what's right, not what's easy. We live in a world obsessed with speed. Everyone wants to get there first, make it fast, show it off. But legacy is not built in a rush. It's built in the long, unglamorous grind of staying committed when excitement fades. It's built in the small, consistent steps that no one claps for. Success that lasts isn't born from shortcuts. It's born from endurance. The ones who leave a mark are the ones who kept showing up long after others got tired. They didn't just chase results. They built something that outlived them. The true greats don't think about today's applause. They think about tomorrow's impact. They understand that patience, perseverance, and purpose are the real engines of greatness. When you stop trying to sprint through your journey and start walking with intention, that's when your legacy begins to take shape. The world will tempt you to define success by comparison, by what someone else has, wears, earns, or posts. But if your success depends on someone else's story, you'll never feel full. Legacy isn't about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than who you were yesterday. It's about alignment, not competition. It's about asking yourself, did I live today with purpose? Did I give everything I had? Did I make someone's world brighter? Because at the end of it all, success that's self-centered dies with you. But success that's service-centered outlives you. When you stop competing and start contributing, your work gains weight. It begins to mean something beyond numbers, beyond likes, beyond trends. That's when you stop chasing legacy and start becoming it. The beautiful truth about legacy is that it doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to show up with intention. People don't remember flawless. They remember real. They remember the moments you kept going through pain, the times you stood tall when you had every reason to fall, the authenticity that reminded them it's okay to be human. That's how you build something that lasts. Legacy isn't about being untouchable. It's about being unforgettable. It's built in the lessons you pass down, the kindness you show when it's not convenient, the resilience that inspires someone else to try one more time.